National's workplace relations spokesperson Amy Adams says families should not have to choose whether it's just the mother or the father who takes that time off work.
We've had discussions with them during the process of the government bill. Obviously, as it's gone through, privately they've said, look, it's a good idea and it has some merit. So they've indicated that they didn't want to do it as part of their legislation. I could see no good reason why not. Their bill didn't take effect till the 1st of July. There was plenty of time. It could have had a short select committee if they'd wanted. But given that they've chosen not to add it to their bill, this is an opportunity once more for them to do the right thing and give Kiwi parents that choice.
Well, the Workplace Relations Minister is Iain Lees-Galloway. He joins us now. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, Guyan.
So will you pick National's idea up and run with it?
Look, we're not going to pick up Amy Adams' bill because it is very similar to the amendment that she brought during the committee stages of the government bill. And my officials described that amendment as fundamentally flawed. It doesn't actually achieve what Amy Adams intends it to achieve. What we are going to do instead, though, I've had my officials working on this for some time. We have 2 pieces of employment legislation that we're planning to introduce to the House next year. We're keen to get this issue into one of those bills and progress it that way. So we still get to go to Select Committee. We still get to consider the issue, which is exactly what Amy Adams says she wants. We can just take our time to actually get the drafting right and take it to a select committee process that we're already going to do anyway, so we don't have to waste Parliament's time on an unnecessary second select committee process.
Yeah, but isn't this just picking up National's idea and renaming it as your own?
Oh, look, I'm happy to acknowledge where it came from. I'm really keen to work with National Party MPs. And one thing that's been lost in this is that Sara Dowie, another National Party MP, actually got an amendment to our paid parental leave bill. She worked really constructively with us and got her amendment up. And I'm surprised the National Party aren't celebrating that one of their MPs got a win by being constructive with the government. If Amy Adams had been a bit more constructive with us, we might have been able to make more progress, but we're still going to make progress. And I'm happy to acknowledge this is an idea that the National Party promoted. We're just going to fit it into a government bill and progress it that way.
So what has changed between today and between the 20, when was it, last couple of weeks ago actually, where Fairfax was reporting you saying our concern with that is the likelihood it would reduce the amount of time that baby has to bond with their primary caregiver. You were clearly against the idea at that point, weren't you? This is just 2 weeks ago.
There are some policy concerns. So what happened when we had the first and second readings, the National Party raised these 2 issues, the one that Sara Dowie raised and the one that Amy Adams raised. I immediately went to my officials. They were in the building that night. I went to the officials and said, can we have a look at these issues and see what we can do? They came back and said on Sara Dowie's amendment, it's doable, it's easy, and it supports the intent of the bill. So we progressed that and worked with Sara on it. On Amy Adams' amendment, they came back and said, look, there is a policy concern around reducing the overall amount of time that baby would have with a parent under paid parental leave, and also there are some drafting issues, and that this is actually a bit more complicated than Amy Adams thought. So what we want to do is take our time to look at that policy issue. There are options. We don't necessarily have to make provision for sharing all of the leave, although that is certainly an option that's still on the table. We want to take our time to think through those issues rather than rushing it. I don't understand why the National Party are in such an enormous rush when they had 9 years in government to promote this idea and never did it once.
So the end result for parents, though, will be a situation where they can share their leave, they can split it?
We are certainly looking at options, and I think, yes, we will take a sharing option of some kind to Parliament, probably early next year. We have a piece of employment legislation due to be introduced by the end of January. Officials are working extremely hard, and I want to acknowledge the extraordinary effort that the officials have gone to try and get an option available to go into that bill that we're going to introduce at the end of January. So we want to take that to Select Committee, and we want to hear what the public have to say. I think there will be a range of views on this. The experts will certainly have a view about the impact on the overall amount of time that baby has,
can you explain
but parents will
what's
have a
the
view as well.
downside? Yeah, what's the downside, Minister? I don't understand why.
So look, the whole point of extending paid parental leave to 26 weeks, which is what we're doing this week after years and years of battling to get there, we've finally got there because we've finally got a government that prioritises paid parental leave. The whole point of going to 26 weeks is that's 6 months. 6 months is the period of time that the World Health Organization recommends that mothers should exclusively breastfeed if they're able to. So the evidence is that we need baby to have time with their parent for 6 months. Now, if we share the entire allocation, what you're effectively doing is saying baby has time with their parents for 13 weeks, not 16 weeks. That's an issue. We want to explore that further. We're totally open to the idea of more flexibility, of parents being able to share. A lot of people have come to me and said,
I guess
why
that's the
share?
thing, isn't it? Like, shouldn't the parents make that decision?
Absolutely. And what I'm most interested here is what's best for baby. And there's a lot of evidence saying that what's best for baby is having the full 26 weeks. But I reckon you could make a really good argument that what's best for baby is also some flexibility for parents, especially around the beginning. People have quite rightly raised the issue of what if you have multiple births? What if the mother has to have a caesarean, which I can tell you from personal experience, does add a lot of burden in the first few weeks of baby's life. There's a whole lot of reasons why we might want to look at that. So we are keen to explore it. And I've been really clear with the National Party from the beginning that we are interested in exploring and we're interested in working constructively together. And I think you just have to look at what we achieved with Sara Dowie. We got her amendment up. We drafted it for her, gave it to her. She put it up in her name, and it was successful. Amy Adams needs to be more constructive if she really wants to
fair
work
enough.
on
And
this.
that's the politics of it. And just very finally, just for clarity for people listening, you are saying that the government will present legislation which allows parents to split their paid parental leave. That will happen.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. That's the Minister Iain Lees-Galloway, Workplace Relations Minister. 7 minutes now to 8.
Scientists say they have grave fears Auckland's iconic Pohutukawa trees will